Really smart, nasty ball hawks.
They apply pressure at all times, and they run to the ball like their hair's on fire. This is probably the most physical team that we'll get to face.
These two teams, in so many ways, I feel like are mirror images because they are physical. We take a look at today's road test presented by Goodyear. The Duck offense runs the ball effectively, leading the nation in yards per game, second in scoring. See what the Utah defense is able to do there.
Yeah, I tell you what, saw the Ducks offense live and in person a couple of weeks ago in Seattle. Very impressed with them. I want to show you what the Utah Utes defense is going to have to deal with when the Oregon Ducks is on the field on offense. So now, guys, it's time for an easy choice presented by Geico. These guys, listen, start with Bucky Irving. He reminds me of Alvin Kamara, man, like 5'10", 195. He makes people miss. One miss right there in the hole, and then watch this short area quickness, puts two Huskies on their butt, and then two more right there for a total of 5 missed tackles. How about Troy Franklin, the receiver, 6'3", kind of reminds me of Devontae Adams. He's a game changer, guys. At the top, gets a free release. No one's in the back. No safety help. This is nothing but a go route. The ball leaves his hand at the 40-yard line. 25 yards down the field, he has that extra gear to go get it. Let's give the love to some offensive linemen. Jackson, Powers Johnson, and the Johnny Cornelius, the right tackle. They like to use the Johnny in the pool game. Watch it right here. He's going to latch onto this DB, run him into the sideline. You got coaches trying to jump over him and everything. They're aggressive, and they're finishers. JPJ, the center, he says, Stanford, I'm going to give you guys a 2-for-1 deal. Throws the defensive tackle and the linebacker on the ground. I love their physicality, their aggressiveness, and these guys are finishers up front, Kirk. This is going to be a hell of a matchup. That offensive line against the Utes front seven.
It'd be great.
Bring your popcorn, baby.
Yeah,
man.
And when Kyle Whittingham came on here, he made a point about how do you win this football game.
Check. 2, check. Check 1 2. Well, check 1 2.
Be better on offense, better than they were the last 2 weeks. But I think Cal with that offense, Fernando Mendoza started the last couple games, 2 touchdowns each game. Give me Cal.
I found a rut like Stanford Steve, and I don't love that he's on this particular side. On this particular day. I got my gravy train. West Virginia +7 over UCF. Garrett Green's playing great football. UCF had a massive game last week against Oklahoma. 1 2-point conversion away. I think they have a letdown against Mountaineers.
All right, everybody quiet.
I'm going to take Colorado State getting 14 in a hook against Air Force. I do love America, but I'm taking Colorado State.
Hates America.
That's
I have
it's
to let
me.
you know. I just have to let you know. It might be snowy.
Kyle Whittingham is going to break you in half. Talking like that.
I feel certain that he could. I just hope he chooses not to. Here's who we have. West Virginia, Colorado State, Cal, NC State, BYU, and Florida. Those are the teams that you will be rooting against, I'm sure. Special thanks to Wheels Up and our good friends at Delta to make sure that they get our guest picker on side each and every week. And this week, Jess, it is Steve Smith.
Yes, it is, Reese. It is the one and all. Look at this. The red looks great on you.
How you doing?
Come walk with me, Steve Smith Sr. How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Great. Okay, awesome. You're back on campus.
Yes.
It's electric. What's it like for you?
Well, the last time I walked these grounds as a student was probably about 23, 24 years ago. But we come here a lot, my family, and we love Utah. You know, it's exactly who we are. But love coming back to the U and love supporting you.
One thing is for sure, Utah loves you. Go and make your picks. Let's
Appreciate
go.
it.
See you later.
Those new tiles are falling right into place until you run out of, what are those called again? Oh, right. The Home Depot app is made for doing that doesn't miss a beat, so you can find what you need fast and keep things moving in the right direction. For doing that doesn't stop, download the Home Depot app. It's made for doing.
The new Barbecue Ranch Chicken Crunch from Jimmy John's is here with house-made barbecue ranch sauce, all-natural chicken, and crispy tortilla strips. All that sauciness comes as a sandwich or wrap. Sandwich or wrap. Sandwich or wrap! For a limited time at Jimmy John's. As a sandwich or wrap!
Some people just know there's a podcast about that. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate.
Big tea drinker.
Yeah.
There's a podcast about tea.
He knows, and he wants you to know too.
I was listening to a podcast on if dogs know their dogs.
There's a podcast about that?
Just like he'd want you to know about Allstate.
There's a podcast about fly fishing called Why Is That Person Doing That? It's called Tea-rific.
Are you listening to a podcast?
Yeah, it's about multitasking.
Some people just know there's a podcast about that. Those are the people who know you're in good hands with Allstate.
You can't focus in the game when you're worrying about your tummy. So whenever the clock is stopped, that's when we order in. Like before kickoff, like right now. What are you doing staring at me? Let's get to ordering. Pizza, chips, drinks, spaghetti, I don't know, phones. Now, people, you got this.
With the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card, you earn 2% cash back on what you want, like first date plans. And
That was disgusting.
Toomey continues to stay out front, nearly halfway through this event.
And the one thing to know back and think back to is right around that 4:59 5-minute mark, we saw Emma Lawson suffer a couple no reps on the handstand push-up. Was that enough to create her have to doing extra work, maybe a little bit of a psychological setback to allow Tia to create some greater separation between the two of them? Could be one of those pivotal moments that we reference back to now as we see Tia start to pull away a bit.
Meanwhile, Laura Horvath is just closing out round 4. Toomey back to the barbell. Once she gets to 120 reps, she'll be done with round 5, and this will be the last set that she will do on this platform. Emma Carey stepping up to the barbell. Emma Lawson is walking up to begin her 5th set. Toomey with 4 remaining. So far, the strategy of how she's breaking them up is really paying off for Tia Toomey.
Yeah, and again, I love that aspect. We know for a fact that she has the capacity to do 12 unbroken at 65 pounds all day, every day. She could muscle snatch it as well, Sean, which means not rebending the knees or the hips and just kind of muscle it to the top. She's choosing not to do that, just like we see a lot of the field doing, in order to sustain and save energy and think ahead.
Emma Carey still in 2nd place in this event, in this heat. She's 5th place overall, coming off a 4th place finish to close out day number 2 in Circus, as Tia Toomey is now on to round number 6 of 10. 8 more handstand push-ups for the 3-time Rogue Invitational champ.
Now, this is the second time we've seen Tia kick up, her hands too wide and get a no rep. Now, she doesn't even kick down from the wall. She literally just adjusts her hands, walks them in like the pro she is, and continues on to do work. And that's a part of the job as an athlete. You're going to toe the line. You got to make the judge hold the standard so that you can still create as much advantage for yourself as you can. You're here to win. You're here to get the fastest time possible. So you're going to be toeing that line often.
And Tia Toomey at the halfway point of this event is about 30 seconds ahead of Ariel Lowen's pace. Lowen with the top time at 16 minutes, 47.10 seconds. And Toomey into round 6 on the snatches. She'll close us out with 12 reps here on the barbell at 65 pounds as Emma Carey hustles up to join Toomey on the 2nd platform for the first time. And now Emma Lawson is done in the background with her handstand push-up. She's in the black top, walking her way to the barbell.
And one of the key differences between what we saw in Heat 1 versus what we're seeing Tia do here is that she intentionally broke her snatches up into 4s, but the rest that she takes between each cluster of 4 reps is minimal. She lets the bar hit the ground, she starts to set her hands, takes a deep breath, and she's already set her body in order to start the next one.
Laura Horvath has fallen to the back of the pack here. She is in last place in this heat. She was towards the front at the beginning, but she has to worry about not only the women in this heat, but now there were quite a few women in the other heat who did not finish. So if she can at least get inside the time cap, that'll be some damage control for her.
And for Laura, this pause here, this waiting, I would almost rather see her kick up and do 4 reps. She could do 4 kipping handstand push-ups, then kick down, then rest again, then do 2, then kick down, then do 2, then kick down and advance. So even if her sets are smaller, I want to see less dead time in execution here. Don't try to chunk together big sets. It's unnecessary. Just keep working.
Meanwhile, Tia Toomey is through her 7th round of handstand push-ups. Laura Horvath going unbroken. Toomey back to the barbell as Horvath is moving to the barbell for the first time on the 2nd platform as she is in round 6. Toomey closing out round 7.
Again, just Tia moving like an absolute machine. Hardly any rest. Barbell touched the ground. She's set. Emma going to put forth the best effort that she can to stay as close as she can to Tia.
Emma Carey right behind Tia in this heat. 5th place overall is Emma Carey with 195 points. She's only 30 points back at Emma Lawson for 4th, 50 points back at Gabby McGowan for 3rd. And McGowan right now in this heat sits in 5th place. She's in lane 7, getting ready to start another set of muscle ups. Tia Toomey, meanwhile, is on to round number 8 back on the rings. Past the 11-minute mark, 19-minute time cap in this event.
Tia does an amazing job transitioning through the ring muscle-up, pulling below her sternum every time. This allows her to catch the portion of the dip at a higher position than a lot of fellow competitors that she's going head-to-head with, where they have to press a longer ways from the bottom.
Final 2 reps for Tia. Emma Lawson is now done.
Keep walking, Emma. That's the hard part there, is that when you want to stop and pause, that you're starting to read body language, and she's probably reached that point of almost no return where she's got to stop and she has to rest. It's not a conscious choice or intention now. It's a byproduct or response to the fatigue that's starting to build up. And that's what you want to avoid as much as you can. You never want to hit that red line or be quite there. You want to always break on purpose.
Toomey back to the snatches here as she is getting set to close out round number 8, as Emma Lawson is trying to catch Emma Carey for second place in this heat. Carey is moving back to the barbell, as Tia Toomey, you just saw her in the background, going back to the muscle-ups for round number 9. Carey taking a look to her right to see where Emma Lawson was. And Emma Lawson is now just getting done with her handstand push-ups. So Emma Carey solidly in second place through 187 reps and counting of the 240 total repetitions here. Here comes Lawson.
We start to see athletes have tools in their tool belt for this power snatch. Sean, if we were looking at a heavier load, they'd all be moving tremendously different, but they understand how to move their body in the space around the load. It's a unique skill set that competitors and everyday CrossFit athletes have to learn to practice and develop. It's important for us to know how to manage a light load for many reps, and equally important for us to manage a heavy load for few reps.
Tia Toomey going back to the barbell now to start her 9th round of 12 snatches at 65 pounds. Emma Lawson, meanwhile, is done with round number 8. Emma Carey continues to sit in second place. Laura Horvath has moved into 9th place in the heat, but right now she is just beginning round 8. So Horvath going to fall down the overall standings because the women immediately behind her on the leaderboard are all beating her in this event. And Toomey was only 5 points back of Horvath for the overall lead, looking to retake that here in 10th inning. There is Laura. Now into round number 8. Toomey, meanwhile, getting set to start her 10th and final round. Back up on the rings.
Yeah, same transition each and every round. Just dialed in when it comes to tempo, intensity, and managing the fatigue. That's truly the swagger and the approach of a champion, is that her tempo has just been so consistent throughout. Other than a few no reps on the handstand push-ups for Tia, she's been moving like a cyborg out there the whole time.
16:47.10 seconds in the upper right-hand part of your screen. That is the time to beat. It belongs to Ariel Lowen. But not looking like it's going to last much longer, as Tia Toomey is through her final set of 8 handstand push-ups, and now just 12 snatches at 65 pounds between Tia Toomey and her 12th career event win at the Rogue Invitational.
Gonna give the crowd all 12. No, she don't. She knows she doesn't have to. It's a fortunate circumstance for her.
She is well ahead of Ariel Lowen right now. And Tia Toomey looking to put 100 more points in her pocket and looking to stand atop the overall leaderboard all by herself. Tia Toomey knocks this one out of the park, an event win in 10th inning.
Wow. Wow. Amazing execution there by Tia.
15:55.66 seconds. Her 12th career event win at the Rogue Invitational. She has nearly a 500 winning percentage at this event. So when it comes to events at the Rogue Invitational, when Tia Toomey's in it, flip a coin. Now Emma Carey is just about done, looking to finish in second place, not only in this heat, but also this event. 16:47 is the time she needs to beat, and she will do it. 95 points for Emma Carey as she looks to move into the top 3.
Great opportunity for her to seize the moment, and she did just that. Not any of these 3 movements were going to give her a problem. It was all about leaning into her ability to suffer, and we know Emma Carey enjoys doing just that. So great job by her.
Emma Lawson is your leader on the field. She's on the handstand push-ups. There's Gabby McGowa. McGowa came in 3rd place overall. She had a 40-point cushion on Emma Carey for 3rd and just a 10-point cushion on Emma Lawson. And McGowa right now is finishing up round 9. She still has another round left. Here comes Emma Lawson looking to be the next woman across the finish line. 90 seconds left before we hit the time cap. Lawson's going to be able to get in.
Similar snatching technique to what we saw from Ariel Lowen.
And Lawson is across. 17:47.05 seconds for Emma Lawson. Laura Horvath is now getting set to start her 10th and final round. She's going to get time capped. And Gabby McGowa looking like she's going to get time capped as well, as she is on to the handstand push-ups in her 10th round. Christine Kohlenbrander, bottom of your screen, she's trying to finish up her set of snatches and get in inside this time cap. Lauren Fisher as well next to her. Final rep for Kohlenbrander, and she is in. Now all of this is great for both Emma Lawson and Emma Carey, as they could find themselves in the top 4 as Lauren Fisher is in. Gabby McGowa hustling to the barbell, trying to get as many reps as she can and do a little damage control here. Alex Gazan is there as well. McGowa is on the left, Gazan's on the right. 5 seconds remain. Gabby McGowa came in 3rd place overall. She's going to get capped. This will be most likely her first finish outside of the top 10. Tia Toomey racks up her 2nd win of this competition, the 12th in her career at the Rogue Invitational, and she will be your overall leader after 4 events.
She did exactly what we thought she would coming out here. She's amazing at ring and muscle ups. She paced the handstand push-ups just right. But what was impressive, Sean, is that she came out the gate and broke her 12 snatches into 4s the whole time, but looked like a complete machine. Tia is in top form right now already here at the Rogue Invitational. She's here to defend the streak. Every time she shows up, she wins this thing.
And Tia Toomey once again is with Kiki Dixon.
Here we go. Tia, congratulations on your event win. It looked like your snatch breakup was very intentional. At what point did you make that decision and why?
You know, Shane and I, we definitely played around with different scenarios in the warm-up area. And we just figured, you know, it's not a 10-minute workout. There's obviously a whole lot of time out on that floor. And it's 120 reps, so you just got to break it up from the very beginning and hope that that plays out.
It certainly played out for you. You had a healthy lead over the rest of the competition. When that happens, do you allow yourself to take the foot off the gas, or are you still looking to get that tempo that you had in place at the start of the event?
Yeah, no, it's always, you know, foot to the pedal, if you will, and, you know, you got to, like I said at the start of the weekend, you got to capitalize on every event the best that you can, and, you know, I knew that this was going to be a tough workout, but it was also going to be a really good one for me, so I just went for it.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out, guys.
12th career event win for Tia Toomey, second of the competition, and once again finds herself in familiar territory. She will be your overall leader after 4 events. Emma Carey's going to lock up 95 points with that second place finish. That's big for her. Ariel Lowen, her time good enough for a 3rd. Manon Anganez finishes in 4th, and it's Emma Lawson rounding out the top 5. Plenty more action to come here. CrossFit competition continues. The men up next in 10th inning. Our coverage continues to the 2023 Rogue Invitational as the men are set to take the field for their 4th event, 10th inning, presented by Crocs. And Adrian, we were talking about this earlier. It's just some good old-fashioned right down the middle CrossFit.
Good old-fashioned right down the middle CrossFit is right. We've got 2 gymnastics movements here for this test. We got a ring muscle up, we've got the handstand push-up, and then we've got some very light loads, at least for these men and women out here at 95 pounds and 65 pounds. They're going through 10 rounds of this, so that accumulative effect is certainly in place.
There will be 9 men on the field for this first of 2 heats. Victor Hoffer will be in lane number 3. Hoffer making his first career appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. He's in 16th place overall, but he does have a 5th place finish under his belt, looking to add to that here.
Yeah, and I really like his chances to perform at a very high level in an event like this. The weight is not going to be a limiting factor for him. He's shown that he's got the proficiency in gymnastics to really set himself apart. So with the volume of ring muscle-ups and handstand push-ups being present the way that they are, I think that this could be something where we're talking about Victor Hoffer as he's out there executing at a very high level. And I'm very interested to see how someone with no games experience per se on a big stage like this has the ability to pace, just like we perhaps saw the champ pace in the last heat.
Doesn't have games experience as a competitor, but he was on the demo team, so got to see what the environment was like. And you've talked a lot about just the value in learning experiences, getting to be around those athletes and seeing what it takes to be successful. What are the keys to this event?
Yeah, you know, the keys right out of the gate are to make sure that you slow the burn. We saw athletes that excelled at that, do it at a high level. They broke things up early and often. All this is going to fatigue the shoulders. You got to be careful. And then understand there's 30 transitions within this particular event. Seize the moment there or slow where you need to, but run your race.
First of two heats for the men has begun. Garrett Clark also making his first career appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. We start with the 4 muscle-ups. Ten total rounds here, 24 reps per round, 240 reps total.
Sean, for these 40 reps for the men, it's one of those things we're not going to really talk a ton about the ring muscle-ups. Not the dip out, not the 4 at a time unbroken. All of these men are going to go unbroken. They're all going to do them well. Oh, as we see Will Morad showing us a trick. He's going 8 strict handstand push-ups out the gate, increasing that cycle rate and trying to get on us a trick. All of these men are going to go unbroken. They're all going to do them well. Oh, as we see Will Morad showing us a trick. He's going 8 strict handstand push-ups out the gate, increasing that cycle rate and trying to get himself an early lead here.
It's Morad and Magda. Magda on the left in the red shirt, along with Victor Hoffer. They're the first to the barbell, but they have a whole host of men right behind him. As Magda takes a break, Hoffer takes a break, and now Morad's got the barbell down. So it looks like people were paying attention to what the women were doing.
Yeah, I hope you were watching. And if you think you're any different or any fitter than Tia Claire Toomey, who broke her snatches up into 3 times, I mean, I think that's a fool's errand there to assume those things. So I'd be, you know, listen, if you do something great and you do it well, I'm gonna beg, borrow, and steal those techniques from you as much as possible. So I hope these men were watching.
Lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's where the battle for the lead is going on early here as we enter round number 2. There's Tudor Magda. Magda coming in 18th place overall, but had his first top 10 finish of the competition last night in the circus.
Magda with a quick drop from the rings, didn't even bother really lowering himself with his arms at all. This reduces time under tension. It's a bit of an advanced consideration if he's doing it on purpose, because he knows the swinging of the rings will minimize by the time he works his way back.
Victor Hoffer and Tudor Magda done with the handstand push-ups at the same time, and it's Will Morad right behind them. And also down in lane number 7, Jay Crouch heading back to the barbell for the second time. Travis Mayer is there as well. Great to see Travis back in competition. 48 rep mark, they will be done with round number 2. 4th of 9 events these men will face here. The first of 3 that they will take on here on Saturday.
Break these up early and often is the key. And watch a lot of the body language that the men are showing us here. If they take a step away from the bar, if they pause and put their hands on their knees, you know they're already digging themselves in a bit of a deficit. And it's not a good sign to see only 2 minutes and 45 seconds into an event, if that's the case when you know how long it's actually going to go.
Victor Hoffer and Tudor Magda rep for rep here as they begin round 3. They are your leaders. Followed by Will Morad and Jay Crouch. Travis Mayer fighting for a spot in the top 3 in this heat right now. Hoffer and Magda rifling through those handstand push-ups, both going unbroken, and now both back to the barbell to close out round number 3.
That's right. These guys, is this a synchro workout, Sean? Is this synchronized CrossFit here at the Rogue Invitational?
It looks a lot like it as Jay Crouch now is back to the barbell along with Will Morad and Travis Mayer.
this is actually, all kidding aside, what we would expect early in an event like this, is rep for rep. None of these three presenting a problem for anyone that's out there on the field right now. The question mark is, are they able to sustain this pace? Are they staying just under that red line or just under that threshold of their capacity so they don't slow this tempo that they've established?
Victor Hoffer done with his set of 12 snatches to close out round 3, just ahead of Tudor Magda. Now Will Morad is done along with Jay Crouch. They're going to make the return trip to the rings. And Travis Mayer as well.
And we talked about transitions and being important and how many there are. And just watch the small things that Hoffer's doing right now in order to create separation between himself and Tudor, is that his transition time, if by only a second, and every time they transition is a touch faster, it will turn into a significant lead over Tudor.
Hoffer back to the barbell here in round 4. Starting to separate himself a little bit from Tudor Magda. He'll get a couple reps in here before Magda gets to the barbell.
Notice Victor's setup here. His feet are a little bit wider than his hips. This is uncommon for a traditional barbell snatch, but he's doing this in such a way to minimize the distance that the bars to travel all the way over his head. He's not necessarily jumping and demonstrating his full power. His feet kind of stay glued to the ground, but he's re-dipping his hip so that he can punch under the bar. Again, this is all in conservation for the later rounds. A heavy snatch would look very different for him, but he's literally has expanded the tools in his tool belt, as we like to say, and has a different method than what he would need to do depending on the load or the volume.
Hoffer is now done. And he'll be heading back to the rings to start round number 5. There is Travis Mayer, who currently sits in 11th place overall.
Yeah, Travis being an extremely well-rounded athlete. Tons of experience in our space. Been to the CrossFit Games many, many times. Sean, I've competed head-to-head against Travis years ago, all the way back to 2013. And he's one of those athletes whom he's explosive, he's strong, and he's also struck this balance of raising a family, being an affiliate owner, and being a long-time career athlete within our space. We don't see it commonly now, where athletes are actually business owners and running an affiliate and still competing at a high level.
And we have the legends coming up a little bit later, and we talked about how those athletes inspired people to get into CrossFit. Well, Travis Mayer was one of them. He started CrossFit in 2011 after seeing Chris Spieler. He's been to the Rogue Invitational 2 times prior to this as Travis Mayer. He finished 6th in both appearances.
It's great to see him back, as he said out last year, due to a wrist injury.
Victor Hoffer continues to lead through 117 of the 240 scored repetitions. He's almost at the halfway point. 120 reps will be done with round 5, and this will be the last set of barbell snatches that he does on this platform. After this, he'll do his next 5 rounds on the platform closest to the finish line.
So now that he's finished that halfway mark, it's interesting to watch Victor. He put his hands on his knees. He was kneeling for a second. He's close to that threshold.
There is Jay Crouch, who's starting to put some pressure on Tudor Magda for 2nd place behind Victor Hoffer. Jay Crouch in 13th place overall. Started off with a 7th in Texas Heavy. We're coming off a 15th place finish in the Circus. We're looking to get back on track here in event 4, 10th inning. Victor Hoffer in the black top towards the middle of your screen, going through his handstand push-ups, and continues a pretty quick pace on this movement.
Now here's where he'll get a little bit of reprieve. He's got a little bit of a further walk here to start these ladder snatches in the event. You know, the last 5 rounds, that bar is just a touch further away, but that helps the athletes catch some time to breathe.
Will Morad trying to move up into the top 3 as well, as Lazar Jukic is starting to creep up as well, but Victor Hoffer is still your leader. Hoffer all by himself on those snatches as he is in round number 6.
Get up, Victor. I don't go there, right? Stay tall, Stay at the bar. Hands on your knees if you need to, but minimize the distance and the work that your body has to do to get back to work. Body language is key here in the latter part of this event, and we're going to see it. The guys in the back, again, are watching. How long is he resting? What's his method? What are we going to need to do to better our time against him? And now Jay Crouch closing in.
And Jay Crouch is now 7 reps back. Hoffer. Lazar Jukic is on round 6, as is Travis Mayer. There goes Tudor Magda, who's fallen back a little bit. As Victor Hoffer continues to lead through 144 of the 240 scored repetitions.
Jukic executing muscle snatches still up until this point. This is similar to what we saw Spiegel doing, touching the bar, just extending the hip rapidly and turning his arms over. It's simple. Again, this keeps the heart rate down, but what's the cost? The hamstrings, the glutes, the low back, they tend to get fired up from those muscle snatches.
Victor Hoffer's back on the rings on the left side of your screen. Jay Crouch now in 2nd place ahead of Lazar Jukic. Tudor Magda's fallen down into 6th place in the heat, and Magda also on his haunches on the left side as he works his way through his 6th set of 12 power snatches. Hoffer is done with round 7 of the handstand push-ups. And hold off Jay Crouch. Crouch in lane 7 now, just hopping down from the rings and moving to the wall for his handstand push-ups. Jay Crouch now with 1 rep remaining, and he is done. Crouch has a chance to shave into this lead here.
Yeah, and I really like, again, we're watching body language. I like the way his looks. He built a little bit of intensity, intentionally kind of went into a trot to go to the barbell. Jay, as we watch him cycle to the right of your screen, he has to give the bar a little bit more of the business. He's giving that bar a little bit more hip extension. It's a rapid extension of the hip and a slight jump every rep to get it up there. So his pauses between sets are a little bit more, as we notice the velocity that he builds with that barbell can tax the body in a little bit of a different way than a more slow and controlled way to get it overhead.
Jay Crouch coming off an 8th place finish at the games back in August. This is his first appearance at the Rogue Invitational. And he's just about done with round 7. Victor Hoffer's at the rings, but Jay Crouch is starting to creep up. Lazar Jukic is in 3rd, and he's dangerous as well. Jukic is also heading back to the rings, where Victor Hoffer has just finished his 8th set of 4.
Yeah, Lazar has a tremendous work capacity and has certainly improved his overall performance when it comes to traditional CrossFit movements. So the longer this event goes, the closer Lazar will have an opportunity to continue to close the gap.
Hoffer blitzes through another set of handstand push-ups and heads back to the barbell as Jay Crouch is now on the handstand push-ups. A 19-minute time cap here, past the 12-minute mark. Crouch is done easily with that set. Hoffer breaking at the 185 rep mark. He's got 7 left. Here comes Crouch.
And Victor took about a 10-second reprieve there, break between this picking up the bar here for this next set.
3 remaining for Hoffer in this round.
And that's what you want. Jay needs to be picking up the bar sooner. We'll continue to close the gap here.
Lazar Jukic is also onto the barbell as well in 3rd place in the heat. Victor Hoffer is done. So far, Victor Hoffer holding off Jay Crouch and Lazar Jukic in the latter part of this event. 2 rounds remain. Jay Crouch now done with round 8. Tudor Magda, meanwhile, who is battling with Victor Hoffer for the lead. Magda there in the red shirt. He's now back in 6th place. He's got 180 reps under his belt. He's still in round number 8 now.
Again, it looks like he got himself in a little bit of trouble trying to run a race that maybe he wasn't prepared to run, right? It's a very natural thing. It's not uncommon, particularly for younger athletes. Tudor is one of the stronger athletes in this field when it comes to pound for pound, weightlifting, different ways to express external loading. But when it comes to building an engine and building up volume, it's something that he's certainly working tirelessly at. And this is another learning experience for a young athlete like Tudor.
Hoffer back to the barbell, getting ready to lap the man that he was once fighting for first place here in the heat. Jake Crouch is now walking back to the barbell. So Hoffer takes a look over his shoulder to see where Crouch is. And getting right back to work is Victor Hoffer.
He's got about 20 seconds on Jay right now. But we certainly see the fatigue setting in for Hoffer as he goes to that kneeling position between every set of 4 that he executes. You'll notice he's building a lot of fatigue in his legs because he hinges more at the waist and rounds his back more than he did when he started this event. And that just shows that he doesn't want to drop his hips. His legs are blown up, but unfortunately that's going to build more fatigue in his erectors. And it's just going to blow you up in a different way. So we'll see. He's only got one more set of 12 left, so Victor's just got to hold on.
Hoffer into his 10th and final round. Jake Crouch and Lazar Jukic fighting for second place, and Crouch has a 3-rep lead on the man to his left. Will Morad, in the upper left-hand corner, sits in 4th place in the heat. As Crouch is now into round 10. Hoffer no problem with those final 4 ring muscle-ups, ditches the grips because he's not going to need those anymore, and now on to his final set of 8 handstand push-ups. No rep. Continues to work. 2 remaining and now 1. And Hoffer unbroken again. Jake Crouch is on the rings. Crouch moving to the handstand push-ups. Hoffer taking a look over his shoulder as he's walking down the field to see where Crouch is. Hoffer to work on his final set of 12. Five reps left for Hoffer. Here comes Crouch to the barbell. Crouch on the far side of the floor. Now, bottom right-hand part of your screen. We'll see if he hangs on here, tries to put a little pressure on Hoffer, but I think Crouch is going to run out of time. Victor Hoffer is done, and Victor Hoffer will take heat number 1. 16:36.35 seconds for the young Frenchman. Jake Crouch is now in. 13 seconds back of Victor Hoffer. Now Lazar Jukic looking to be the next man to come across the finish line. He has 1 rep remaining, and Jukic is in. Less than 2 minutes to go before we hit the time cap. Jukic at 17:10.65 seconds. Will Morad, who's on the barbell. Black shorts. Final reps for Will. Will Morad is done. His 3rd appearance here at the World Invitational. Best finish was 14th in 2021. Morad, 17:38.37 seconds, and now Travis Mayer is just about finished. Mayer is in. Dallin Pepper is now your leader on the field. Pepper with 10 reps remaining. Garrett Clark is in round 9 next to Pepper, so Clark still has a full round remaining here. Pepper on his final rep, and he is done. Dallin Pepper will get in inside the 19-minute time cap. Tudor Magda now has 12 snatches remaining as Garrett Clark wraps up round 9. So Magda falling well back of the pack after being neck and neck with Victor Hoffer in the early parts of this event. Bailey Martin is in lane 5. He's still in round 9. So Magda, final seconds here, see if he can do it. One more rep. Doesn't look like he's going to get across the finish line, but Magda will complete all the reps. That could be big for him in a tie-break scenario. But it's Victor Hoffer, 16:36.35 seconds.
Yeah, Victor knew he had to seize the moment here with this event. I'm sure that he saw this event listed when it got announced and was like, okay, that's the one. I got to go get this one. I've got to reach the peak of my performance here. And he did just that. He paced it very well early on. He ran his own race. He knew that gymnastics were something that's a strong suit of his. As we watch him work smoothly through the ring muscle-ups, those were no problem. Not in any portion of this event. Same with the handstand push-ups, unbroken every round. Even when he got a no rep, he was able to adjust his position, show the judge that what she wanted to see or what she needed to see, and he still kept that set unbroken. And then, of course, he handled business where he needed to on the snatch, breaking them up, very similar to what we saw Tia do, and finish all the way, giving the crowd a little bit of love with the chest pump through the finish line.
Victor Hoffer, the Rogue Invitational rookie, with an impressive performance in heat number 1, 16:36.35 seconds, looking for his best finish of the competition. So far, that was a 5th place in event number 2. Might be able to best that here with an impressive time. Jake Crouch tried to put some pressure on Hoffer and overtake him for first, just ran out of time. 16:49.47 is Crouch and Hoffer the only 2 men to go sub-17 on that event. 1 heat is down. 1 remains here for the men in event 4, 10th inning. Presented by Crocs. Here are your overall standings, and that man is your overall leader, Roman Krennikov, who's coming off an event win to put himself on top of the overall leaderboard by 20 points over Jeff Adler. Pat Vellner is tied with Adler in points, but because Adler has an event win in Texas Heavy, Adler gets the tiebreak. Chandler Smith looking to finish on the podium at the Rogue Invitational for the 2nd straight year. He sits in 4th place. He's only 10 points back of Vellner and Adler. And then Brent Fikowski in 5th with 210 points. He is very much alive, as is Yellow Hosta and Noah Olson. Your lane assignments, overall leader Roman Krennikov will be in lane number 6. And Adrian, he has some momentum right now.
Oh yeah, Roman has done exactly what he has needed to do thus far in the competition. There were questions coming in. Is he healthy? How's he responded? What's the foot like? What's his training volume like? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Roman Krennikov is showing all of us he is healthy and he is ready to contend for the top of the podium here at the Rogue Invitational.
Heat 2 is underway. 10 rounds of those 4 ring muscle ups, the 8 handstand push-ups, and the 12 power snatches at 95 pounds for the men. Take a look at Ricky Garrard running to the rings. Ricky coming in 9th place overall. Has an event win in event 2, but took an 18th last night in the circus.
Yeah, I'll tell you, even as we kick this thing off, and we know these ring muscle ups again, for all 10 of these competitors are going to be a no problem, no deal breaking movement. But when I kick up there on that first round, my whole cue to myself in my mind is, how can I do these as easy as possible? How can I keep my heart rate as low as possible? It's the same with the handstand push-ups. You want to stay cool and composed early, treat the transitions the way that you need to, so that then you know that this barbell will be a lot of the dictating pacer for the remainder of the event.
Noah Olson and Ricky Garrard on the right side of the screen were the first 2 men to the barbell, along with Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson. He's on the far side of the field in lane 2. 12 reps here. 240 reps total in this event, 24 reps per round. Noah Olson, your early leader, Pat Vellner and Ricky Garrard right behind him. Adler and Krennikov are neck and neck. Chandler Smith walking back to the rings to start round 2, and Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson.
We talked about how important transitions are, and we saw that even from Victor Hoffer early in the last event, where 1 second here and there, getting to the rings 1 or 2 seconds early, getting to the handstand push-up 1 or 2 seconds early really add up when we talk about any event that's going to accumulate 10 rounds total.
Roman Krennikov, once again coming off that event win last night, has yet to have a finish outside of the top 10. He and Jeff Adler, the only two men who have every result of 10th or better. And they each have an event win. Adler to the barbell. There's your leader right now in the heat, Noah Olson. Olson coming in 7th place overall.
Noah, an athlete who I really like for all three of these movements. The question mark with Noah is, again, his choice of tempo. He tends to come out a little bit hot, a little bit sporadic, likes to lead the charge, but then where does that leave him? Right around that 4 to 6 round mark. We'll be checking in to see exactly where he's at that point.
Pat Vellner, Noah Olson done at the same time. They're walking back to the rings to start round number 3. Jeff Adler has moved into a third-place battle with Ricky Garrard. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson is done. Now Chandler Smith making the walk back. We are now into round number 3. Time to beat is from Victor Hoffer from heat number 1, 16 minutes, 36.35 seconds.
I'll say one of the things too, Sean, to consider is that distance matters, especially early in this event. Noah's one of the shorter statured athletes. He's got short arms. He's got a short overall body range. So when we think about a handstand push-up, boy, he's on and off those 8 reps very quickly. When we think about a snatch going ground to all the way overhead, think about his stature. It reduces the distance that the load has to travel, and that really matters particularly early when speed is of the essence. Now, again, later, as it turns into more of an aerobic-based test, that's when it starts to become less of a dictating factor. So early on, a lot of times we see shorter, faster athletes having great success, and then later on we start to see the consistency and their overall pacing and conditioning be the biggest separator.
Pat Vellner continues to lead along with Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson and Noah Olson. Those guys are rep for rep. As Vellner's got the barbell down, Olson is done, and Gudmundsson is just about done as well. You see the narrow grip that Adler's taken here.
Yeah, and I almost wonder, Sean, that he's taken that narrow grip because his hands are a little beat up from the work that they did yesterday. But also, we tend to have a more stable shoulder position when our hands are more narrow. So this could be something where he's thinking down the line with the way that all three of these movements kind of interfere with the upper body and with the shoulder specifically.
Roman Krennikov there in lane 6 now, walking back to start round number 4. Falling off the lead pace is our overall leader, Roman Krennikov, coming into the day with a 20-point cushion over Jeff Adler. Pat Vellner tied with Adler in points, and he and Olson continue to lead. Quick break and a kick right back up for Vellner as Olson is to the barbell.
Noah looking very smooth, making no contact with his body on the way up on those linked together snatches, taking a brief pause, hands back on the bar, hook grip intact, and he's off. Really hinging at the hips as well, sending his butt back, shoulders down, almost dropping his chest completely towards the floor. Again, all three of these men making work. BKG doing a similar thing. These guys all move a heavy bar very different, but you gotta understand they practice barbell snatching. BKG we see not touching the bar with his body as well, and then rebending his knees just before that bar reaches his forehead. I categorize this style of movement as a snake style snatch. It just tends to help you save a little bit of energy. It keeps you smooth, your feet don't gotta leave the ground, and you can push right under the load.
Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson 8th place overall right now with 190 points. He's tied with Noah Olson in points, but Olson has the tiebreak because of the better finish. Pat Vellner and Noah Olson continue to fight for the lead here. 16:36.35 seconds, the top time from heat 1. And these guys are approaching the halfway point of this event. 240 total scored repetitions. They're each in round number 5. Olson with a faster pace than Vellner on those handstand push-ups. Olson back to the barbell. for the final time on this platform.
So here we go. We're into round 5. Noah holding his pace. Seems to have come out with a good groove. He's keeping good tempo at the barbell. This is what you want to see. Good positive body language still up to this point. A couple deep breaths. It's very consistent. He's building rhythm with the barbell, and because that's where we spend the most time in this event, that is extremely important for a good outcome.
Roman Krennikov and Jeff Adler came in 1 and 2 in the overall standings respectively. Adler right now sits in 4th place. He's on the barbell. He is on pace with the leaders. Roman Krennikov is falling back. Krennikov right now is in 8th place in the heat. Adler has to make up just 20 points on Roman Krennikov. There are 5 points between each result in this event. First place gets 100, second place gets 95, third gets 90.
And Sean, just watching Adler's body posture, his language, I don't like how much duress he's showing at this point, and in regards to what that means for the outcome for him. His hands are so narrow at this point that he's making that bar travel a substantially longer distance to lock it out overhead, even if it's to save his grip. I'm not sure what has brought that choice to him, but I'm sure that's going to play a factor in this event.
There is Chandler Smith, who's in 4th place overall, 215 points. Smith right now in a fight with Adler for 4th place in the heat. And Chandler has an event coming up later on in that 1-rep max deadlift that he can do some serious damage.
Yeah, we see Chandler making a good swinging action. He has a very similar technique for the ring muscle up that we saw from Ariel Lowen earlier. A bit of a chicken wing, favors the left side, then goes through the right side. A lot of times we would note that as a fault in regards to a point of performance. We want to see athletes come through smoothly, both arms at the same time. But I'll tell you what, Chandler Smith's done enough ring muscle ups in practice. He understands the way he needs to move to optimize the outcome. These athletes tend to have exceptional movement patterns and do things in a unique way in order to have a high level of achievement.
Adler coming off the wall as Chandler Smith looking to close out his set. He's got 1 remaining. Adler's done. Olsen and Vellner continue to fight for the lead here. As Olsen is now done with round number 6. Time to beat is in the upper right-hand part of your screen. That belongs to Victor Hoffer. And at last check, Olsen and Vellner were slightly behind that pace. Olsen into round number 7 along with Pat Vellner, your 2 leaders here.
We're looking at another athlete in Noah Olsen that's never seen a muscle up that he didn't like. He can go big and he can go long on rings and regular rig bar muscle up. So this is something that I'm sure he was chomping at the bit to see these 3 movements paired together in the form of 2 gymnastics, the ring muscle up, the handstand push-up. As we notice, his hip drive is quick, he's efficient, and he's accurate with those heels to the wall.
I know Olsen starting to separate himself from Pat Vellner. Jorgen Carl Gudmundsson looking to overtake Vellner for 2nd place in the heat. Olsen back to the barbell. Close out round 7.
Moving 95 pounds like a champ, straight up and down. The bar path is a straight line. He's reducing the distance traveled there. Again, still same solid momentum and rhythm with picking up the bar after it dies out on the floor.
Vellner back on the barbell, and since finishing 13th in the opening event, Pat Vellner has a 2nd and a 3rd.
And right now he finds himself in perfect striking position to stay and continue to stay right at the heels of Noah.
Olsen with now 1 more rep, and he's done. And into round 8.
We see BKG making a move on Pat Vellner. Right out of lane 2. He picked up that bar just a hair sooner than Pat did for his 3rd and final set, but BKG still has a few more reps left in this round.
There's Roman Krennikov, who is now a full round behind the leaders. So Roman Krennikov coming in with a 20-point lead over Jeff Adler and Pat Vellner. So depending on how this shakes out, Pat Vellner might find himself atop the overall standings here. 11.5 minutes gone by, 19-minute time cap.
even though we're only 4 scores in after this event finishes, Sean, I don't think anyone that pays as close attention to the sport would have a hard time saying that Pat Vellner could find himself at the top of the podium, not only at this point, but all the way through this weekend, as all the events that have been announced, you know, they seem to really favor his capacity, his ability to attack, and where he has strengths and weaknesses aligned. It aligns well for Pat.
Vellner is done with that set of handstand push-ups. He's the only former champion of this event in the field. He won in 2020. Noah Olson has also done extremely well during his career at the Rogue Invitational. This is his 4th appearance. He's never been outside the top 10, and his best finish was the year that Vellner won. That was 3rd in 2020. Noah Olson, meanwhile, has picked up the pace. He is ahead of where Hoffer was at this point in the event. Pat Vellner continuing to work his way through his set of 12 snatches to close out round number 8. So Vellner has finished 2nd at the Invitational twice and 4th to go along with that championship.
Yeah, great history there for Pat. And we just watched Noah jump up. He was on the rings at about 12:45. So he's looking to establish at least a 20, perhaps a 25-second lead on Pat Vellner as he's just entering the same round as Noah here into round 9.
Olson continues to look like he did the very first time he kicked up on that handstand push-up wall. Just a minor inconvenience for him as he moves back to the barbell here in round number 9. So Olson, if he continues this pace, he's going to look at an event win. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, might be looking at the overall lead if he can stay behind Olson in this heat. Doesn't want to surrender any ground to Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson, who's lurking there in 3rd place. Gudmundsson at the top of your screen now, getting to his handstand push-ups in round number 9. Vellner's done. They'll head back to the barbell. Olson has 4 reps remaining in this set. You saw Vellner looking over his right shoulder to see where Bjorgvin was. Bjorgvin seeing what Olson and Vellner are doing. Olson's done. He's now into his 10th and final round. 16:36.35 seconds. That's the top time here. Victor Hoffer did that in heat number 1, and Olson is threatening to defeat that. Pat Vellner, meanwhile, is into his final couple of reps on his 9th set of barbell snatches. Final rep for Olson on the rings. He is done. He'll move back to the handstand push-ups. He's had no problem with this movement. And there goes Noah Olson. Easy 8 reps for him, and now 12 snatches between Noah Olson and an event win here at the Rogue Invitational. Jeff Adler, meanwhile, is on the left side. He's in 4th place, well ahead of Roman Krennikov, the man he's chasing in the overall standings. But he's behind Vellner, who still sits in 2nd place in the heat, although Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson looks like he's overtaken Vellner for 2nd on that set of handstand push-ups. Meanwhile, Noah Olson getting set to finish up. He's got a couple of reps left, doesn't need to be in a hurry. He has plenty of time to win this event. That's going to do it for Noah Olson, and Noah Olson taking a little time to celebrate, and he will win 10th inning. 100 points for Noah.
You love to see a great execution by Noah there.
Here comes Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson, so a late charge by Gudmundsson. 16:37.45, so Vellner will take 4th place in the event. Now we have to wait and see where Adler and Krennikov wind up.
You know what that means, Larry? That leaderboard going to be shaken up.
2 minutes remain, and Vellner only had to make up 20 points on Roman Krennikov to overtake him for the lead. Now Jeff Adler is going back to the barbell for the final time. Krennikov, meanwhile, is in round number 9.
Yeah, and this is where Jeff's got to really hammer down on the barbell, understanding, of course, those other times are now playing a role in dictating his outcome. It's not just the guys to the left and to the right of him.
And Caleb Taylor are in right now. They have a combined 11 tackles all year for the Kansas Jayhawks. Second down and 3 under 9 to go in the first half for undefeated Oklahoma on the road. They have Bedlam next week in Stillwater. Tough pocket of the schedule. Walker has been running with vigor.
Week in Houston. And there it is. They were getting the replay. See, you ask and you shall receive.
The field is a first down. The previous play is under further review.
You ask and you shall receive, Galindo.
Dana is gonna be hot. He's asking still, where was my review last week on a 3rd and 1? Same situation as this. The ball was spotted short, though, for Houston when they had a chance to try to score a touchdown, get a 2-point conversion, and get the win. Let's see how this one looks for Kansas State, however.
Just looking for a body part that touches, and where is the football? That's going to be the hard part.
It looks like he's still up, though. That's the thing.
Correct.
I don't know if he ever went down, so he was able to roll over the would-be tackler.
Right.
Let's see if this angle gives us something.
Yeah, I think the vantage points that we've seen on the early replays is that Trayshawn Ward never touches the ground. I didn't see a body part touch the ground. I think as he rolls over, he maintains possession.
The ruling in the field stands. First down.
Yeah, there was just no concise evidence that said anything different. So you stay with the call in the field. And now 1st and goal.
And when you run to the left side, Kansas State, you're setting yourself up for success.
It's a lot of beef.
Leviston means so much for this offensive line because it's allowed Beebe to go back to left guard, where he is the best guard in America.
Yeah, Beebe will be playing on Sundays, but you tell me a side of an offensive line where you have 26 starts at left tackle, 42 starts at left guard. I know where I want to run the football behind those two, 70 and 50.
Ward gets the carry. Ward fights through for the touchdown. 4 drives.
Of not just love, but also energy as he gets a good flex to finish.
First career event win at the Rogue Invitational for Noah Olson, and he is with Kiki Dixon.
Noah, you were tired as an individual, but here we are. What happened?
My friend Christine the other day said we could probably frame this as an encore. I don't know if you guys wanted more, but I'm here one last time, last hurrah before switching over to teams.
You look like you were having so much fun on the competition floor. What did you love about this particular event?
That's what I'm trying to do all weekend because this is kind of a bonus for me. I just want to enjoy it all, have a lot of fun, take advantage of the events that I can do well on, and just played my game there. It worked out in my favor, and I'm a pretty happy puppy.
Congratulations on your first event Rogue win.
Ooh, I'll take it. Let's go. Woo!
Noah Olson with his event win here in 10th inning, taking some time to show some appreciation for the fans and looking to move up the overall standing. 16:10.60 seconds is the winning time. Bjorven Carl Gudmundsson with that late charge overtakes Pat Vellner. He'll finish second and put 95 points in his pocket. Victor Hoffer gets his best finish so far of the competition out of heat number 1. And Pat Vellner looks to be the new overall leader heading into the next event. We'll have to wait for the official results. And for those official results, and to keep up to date on everything going on with the Rogue Invitational, you can head to roguefitness.com/invitational. 10th inning is in the books. Action continues here at the 2023 Rogue Invitational as the legends are coming out next. So stay with us, everybody, as our coverage continues from Round Rock, Texas.
Playing in the Big 12 title game.
2 events remain in the strongman competition here at the 2023 Rogue Invitational, and we are breaking out one of the most iconic implements in strongman. It's the Max Rep Log Lift presented by a Mayhem athlete, and that is what awaits the 9 men in the strongman competition here in Round Rock, Texas. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Lawrence Chalet, and Laz, after we left the last event, we were talking about how close we expected things to get on top of the leaderboard, and that's exactly what has happened.
It's getting even closer. Mitch Hooper's lead is slowly being chipped away at. We've got an incredible battle now. 3 athletes tied in second place. 2 events left. Who knows what's going to happen?
And here are the overall standings. Mitch Hooper's lead is now down to 4 points as he sits atop the overall leaderboard. But after that, it is tight. 3 men tied at 20 points apiece. Evan Singleton, Tom Stoltman, and Mateusz Kiloszkowski. Alexei Novikov, the defending champion, on the outside looking in when it comes to a podium spot, but he is still very much alive for a spot inside the top 3. Event number 4, it's the Max Rep Log Lift.
360 pounds, as many repetitions as possible in 90 seconds.
Here is your start lift. Pretty simple challenge that awaits these athletes. Mitchell Hooper is going to get to go last. Maxime Boudreau will go first, so Hooper will know what he needs to do in order to hang on to that overall lead. And speaking of our overall leader, he spoke to Kiki Dixon prior to this event.
Mitch, you've got 2 events left. How often are you gaming the leaderboard?
Every event, you got to know what guys are capable of, and if you do, then you can reserve some energy and push where you need to. But from here on out, you know, it's going to be working as hard as I can. If I can pick up maximum points on the log, that's going to put me in a really good place for loading race. But these are 2 of my best events now, so we should be into a strong finish, but you can never count your chickens before they hatch. And
what are your expectations for this next event? Do you have a number in mind, or will you game it a bit?
Well, since I go last, I'll be able to see what everyone else does. You know, I think 8 would be a really good result here. I think 5 probably gets you in the top 3. If I'm in the top 3, I go into the last event with a lead. But I'd love to build my lead. It's at 4 right now. If that was 5 or 6, I'd be really comfortable going into the finish. So I'll try and do 1 more than the next guy. One thing to look out for is that if the log is in your lap, then you're allowed to complete the rep. Something that I haven't heard anyone talking about. So look for me to use that to my advantage as well.
All right, well, we'll see you out here shortly. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Maxime Boudreau is our first lifter here.
Maxime's a very good log lifter, so he's going to give us a good number, a good idea of what athletes are capable of. 10th place overall for Maxime so far today, but this is an event he can do very well at. And I say he can do very well at. We've got a number of athletes that I think are going to be very, very close on this event. 360-pound log, this is bread and butter for these guys. So they're going to need to be hitting high numbers. I think 7 to 10 reps is possible.
3 reps so far for Maxime Boudreau on that 360-pound implement. It's a little more than 163 kilos. Boudreau trying to get that crowd behind him at the concourse. Now, this was moved indoors for safety reasons because weather has put a ton of water out on the field. They wanted to make sure that the conditions were as ideal as possible for lifting this, and that's why it has been moved into the concourse. And like yesterday with the bull, what makes this cool is Boudreau is going for rep number 6. The fans are right there.
And he's going to be hearing that, and this will help him. You know, he's using the time well. You can see that step back between each rep. I think he might be done now, though. There we go. Just don't think Maxime's conditioning is quite where it needs to be yet. The strength's coming back. He's going to try 1 more rep. He's taken all the supportive gear off. You can see him breathing hard there. Has he got the power to do 1 more? Very, very good on the clean, and he does.
And he will get it inside that 1 minute and 30-second time cap for 7 good reps for Maxime Boudreau, acknowledging Trey Mitchell, who is here. Mitchell, who had to withdraw from the competition due to an injury he suffered yesterday. Good to see him still attending and cheering on his fellow competitors. What an effort for Maxime Boudreau. 7 good reps for him.
So interesting to see him take off all the supportive gear then and still come out and get that last rep. Maybe sometimes we rely a little too much on those things. Maxime, very good first athlete there.
Let's talk keys of the event after we just watched Maxime Boudreau rip through those 7 reps.
So the obvious keys of this, you know, you need shoulder and tricep strength, strong legs, but the endurance is a factor. 90 seconds is a long time, and the athletes are going to have to make sure they strategically use that time to their advantage.
Let's take one more look at Maxime Boudreau's opening effort here.
Look how easy he cleaned the log up to the shoulders. I can promise you that's not an easy feat. He made it look much easier than most normal strongmen would. We have the best 10 in the world right now competing here.
This is an opportunity for Maxime Boudreau to score some big points. This is his second invitational appearance. He was 7th last year, but his best finish was in that yoke log medley when he took 2nd place.
An interesting factor with the change of events is I think now it suits athletes a little bit slower, like Bobby Thompson or a Luke Stoltman, both huge log lifters. I think they're going to be happy with this change. Some of the athletes that are quicker, say a Kiliashkovsky or a Mitch Hooper, who we've seen do exceptionally well on these combined events when it's about speed. Definitely an advantage for the likes of Luke Stoltman here. Huge log lifter. He was pushing the 1 rep max world record for a long time. Log is starting to get back in shape. You just look at him, you know, you look at those arms, those shoulders, big, powerful legs. He's built to press.
Has the experience, good overhead pressing power, and that weakness, the deadlift. We got that out of the way in event number 1 in the Tower of Power when he finished in 8th place. He's got a 4th and a 9th since then. So looking to work his way up the overall standings. 12 points overall. Tied for 7th with Tom Evans.
So, you know, 7 reps is the target to beat.
Here goes Luke Stoltman. 1 rep is no problem.
So powerful. Very, very efficient and clean. That's a nice rep there. Now what he needs to do, look, the technique is really good. He does this little jump back that just sometimes on the heavier weights leaves the log in front of him, but he's got so much power, very effective clean. It's endurance now. 90 seconds, he needs to keep going. And we saw on the roller coaster that he started to fatigue as he went through. Needs to time this well. The power is there. That's 5 reps done already, looking strong. He's only at the 40-second mark.
Here's number 6 for Luke. And he will hit that. So now 1 away from tying Boudreau's mark of 7, and he has nearly half the time left.
Luke has all the power in the world overhead. He just needs to kind of keep cleaning that, get it up to the shoulders, use those big, powerful legs, strong tricep. Look how easy he's still making it look. That's 7 reps. There we go. Come on, let's get behind him.
Getting the crowd behind him now. He has 20 seconds left. 7 reps, tied with Boudreau for the early lead. And this to put him in front outright. And that is good for Luke Stoltman.
Great lift there. Has he got time to attack it one more? As long as he lifts it to his lap, he gets to go for it. That's what Mitch Hooper was saying there in the interview with Kiki.
And he will get it, but unable to keep it there. But 8 good reps for Luke Stoltman. He takes the lead from Maxime Boudreau.
Luke looked very, very strong. Every single rep looked powerful. I mean, he blasts through. The first 40 seconds, he was so good. Look how easy he makes these reps look. "90 seconds, it's a long time to be cleaning that log. You feel it on your chest. You suddenly start to struggle to breathe, and when you kind of can't breathe, panic kicks in. 8 reps is good.
Really didn't seem to have any sort of fatigue factor. Slowed a little bit, but not like we saw on the roller coaster where he really started to struggle late in that window.
Yeah, and it's a confidence thing. You know, Luke is one of the best log lifters on the planet. He's been up near the world record a number of times. I'd say right now he's maybe 5% off his best on the log, but you can see it starting to come back. That confidence is growing again. Technique looking really strong.
Tom Evans will be the next man to go. Evans coming in tied for 7th with Luke Stoltman. Best finish was a 6th place in the Tower of Power to kick off this competition.
And I will point out something for people watching back home. these athletes were expecting a slightly different overhead event. So it was meant to be the Fingal's finger into the log. So in terms of training, they were working on 5 repetitions. When they have to start pushing up to that 7 to 8, it's a different type of energy system that you're using. So it's the ability to adapt on the day. Now, Thomas Evans, he's a very good presser himself. He's a fast, powerful athlete. Deadlift is out the way. He doesn't need to worry about that. Log lift, he's done very well in contests this year.
30 seconds.
It's just a very, very strong lineup of log lifters. I have to say that, you know, everyone I'm looking at on this list, I think we could see a number of guys on the 7 to 8 mark.
Evans is set, and he will try to chase down Luke Stoltman's mark of 8 good reps here. Judge is ready. Evans is ready. We are underway.
Another athlete that you look at and you just think this man can press. Big, huge shoulders and arms. He's taking his time. Do we have the start or not?
We're going to reset.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what was happening there.
They had an issue with the official start, so Evans will reset. Evans making his first appearance here at the Rogue Invitational. Saw him compete back at the Arnold Strongman Classic. Had a really good showing there.
5th place at the Arnolds this year for Thomas Evans. Currently in 7th here, 12 points. The log definitely an event he will favor, though.
And now Tom Evans is set again.
2, 1, go!
First rep is good.
Just needs to make sure he fixes that lockout securely. Just kind of almost tried to guess the referee's down signal. That's a better second rep. Looked much, much more solid. Good solid 3rd rep as well. Feet are planted to the floor. Good positioning on the chest. Easy press.
Evans through 4, now 5 reps.
Got to the point he's not even using his legs now. Just strict pressing that 5th rep. Steps back, gets some air in. Plenty of time still to keep chipping away at Buglow's 7 and Stoltman's 8.
There's a couple opportunities left now, running out of time, but just to tie Boudreau.
That looked easier than the last rep. Has he got time for one more? Just trying to get that air in, clips the belt back in.
This to tie for the lead.
And he gets it.
Good for Evans.
8 repetitions for Thomas Evans, 8 repetitions for Luke Stoltman. It's taken everything out of him. Maxime Boudreau just behind those 2 on 7. Boy, Thomas Evans has given absolutely everything there. He wants to know the number.
Let's take another look at it. And you're right, it looked like he flirted with a no rep there on that first one, but was able to lock it out and get credit for it. And after that, he got things dialed in.
Yeah, he got into a good rhythm after that. Just like I said at the start before, he's not trained for that many repetitions for this particular contest, expecting the event to be a little bit different. I think that's why we're seeing these guys gassing so much towards the end. 8 reps is a fantastic number on a 360-pound log. Doing the full reps where they have to clean every single rep from the floor, it becomes a full body movement as well, and that takes it out of your cardiovascular system just as much.
Coming up next is the American Nightmare, Bobby Thompson, and he has been waiting to get his hands on this thing.
This is an event that he will be looking forward to. You know, the last 2 events, the pulling and pushing events, not what he's about. He is about deadlifting, pressing movements, squatting. When it comes to power in the gym, this man is an absolute beast.
Thompson already has a first place finish under his belt. He tied Trey Mitchell for first in the Tower of Power with 8 good reps. But since then, he's gone 10th and then 8th. So looking to get back on track here in the max rep log lift.
Yeah, and he will feel confident about this one. Very, very good log lifter. We saw him perform exceptionally well on the log lift at the Arnold, which was even heavier than this one. He's going to have to make sure that conditioning is in point, and that's an area he's improved a lot. His body weight is down on the past. Feels just as strong, but fitter than ever before.
Overhead pressing power, we all know how good he is at that. He can deadlift. We saw that in the Tower of Power. In the sled pull, that's out of the way.
The weakest events are done for Bobby now. Now he needs to kind of, you know, it's a tough task to get 9 reps is really what he's going to be looking at in his head. That's a lot of repetitions with a 360-pound log, but I certainly expect him to be pushing hard to try and beat the 8 reps that we've seen so far. And all these guys going out early are putting pressure on the leaders as well, because these are big numbers that we're seeing early on.
Here goes Bobby Thompson. Right back to work for rep number 2.
You often see the athletes struggle the most on the first rep, where they're kind of just getting a feel for the equipment, and then suddenly they get into a nice rhythm. 3 reps so far for Bobby. A little bit slower in terms of pace. Got a solid 4th rep. Only 30 seconds gone so far. Still got plenty of time to keep chipping away.
There's number 5, 2 reps away from Boudreaux. And not even halfway through the allotted time. 6 is good for Bobby Thompson.
40 seconds to go. In his head, he has to be thinking, I need 8 reps minimum. Anything less is going to be disappointing for Bobby. That's 7 to equal with Maxime Boudreaux. He needs one more. He's
Less
got
than
the
30
time.
seconds to go. And now he's going to take a break. And again, if you just get it into your lap, you can complete the rep. This to tie for the lead.
Needs to use a leg drive.
And there it is for Bobby Thompson.
Gets a good lockout. He is happy with 8 reps as well.
And the crowd loves that. Bobby Thompson is done. He will tie Luke Stolman and Tom Evans at 8 reps.
3 athletes so far on 8, and I can honestly see a couple more hitting 8 as well. If anyone out there can hit 9 from the remaining athletes, that is going to be massive in terms of the leaderboard.
Why is this guy so good with this thing?
Leverage. He's just got he's got shorter arms, which kind of just advantageous in this type of event. And he loves pressing. And when you love an event, you train it. You know, there's certain lifters out there, they're very good at one thing, and they just want to do it again and again. And Bobby loves a press. He's worked hard to bring other areas of his game to a high elite level. But he's been a huge log presser for a long, long time. The current American log lift record holder.
Now defending champion Alexei Novikov is getting set. Novikov currently sits in 5th place overall, but he's only 3 points behind the 3 men who are tied for 2nd, and he's 7 points back of Mitchell Hooper for the lead.
Now, Novikov, just an incredible all-round athlete, but a real strength for Novikov is the dumbbell. The SEER dumbbell we've seen at the Rogue before. This is a slightly different overhead. Requires a little bit more tricep and shoulder power, whereas the dumbbell, much more technical, much more leg drive orientated. And he's coming back from an elbow injury, so this event could be a factor for him this year. 7 reps is the minimum that we've seen so far. That is a tough target. A fully fit Novikov, I'd expect to hit it, but 90, 85% Novikov, this might be an issue. As you said earlier, he's only 3 points behind the chasing pack in 2nd place, but he really can't afford to drop points to them at this stage of the contest.
His best finish so far was a 4th in the Tower of Power. He took 7th in the Iron Bull, and then earlier today in the Roller Coaster, he was 5th.
What can the current champion do on the log lift? 360 pounds. Look at at that, 8, 8, 8, and 7. That's an intimidating number to look at for the next athlete to go.
1 rep down for the defending Rogue Invitational champion.
Good solid rep. Not rushing, using the time well. And from talking to him before the contest, he's not really been hitting these kind of numbers for big reps in the gym. His training has been more rehab-based, building back that strength. He's looking solid here. It's 4 reps, no problem at all at the 40-second mark.
And this is about where Bobby Thompson was at this point. Novikov's a little bit behind that pace, but still plenty of time. Now halfway through the 90-second window. Five good reps now for Alexei Novikov.
He's definitely got one more in him. It's whether he's got enough time to get 2 or 3.
30 seconds remain.
His pace has slowed down massively in the last 20 to 30 seconds. Lock out.
He will gut through that, so 6 good for Alexei Novikov, 15 seconds to go.
He has time, but I'm just not sure that the tricep strength is quite there now to lock out another rep. This will be a lot of effort to just be in last place. He's left it there.
5 reps for Alexei Novikov.
5 reps.
We'll take one more look at it in that effort. With that, he's going to have to smash the final event and get some help in order to repeat as champion.
He started off really well. Technique, as we'd expect from Novikov, looking really, really good. But just that brute strength isn't quite where he wants it to be yet. And you just saw the triceps start to struggle as we went through.
That was the last one that he just was able to lock out. And Alexei Novikov will step away with 5 good reps. He did make another attempt at the log, but as you said, he just didn't have enough time or strength left in the body to get that
These athletes
completed.
know, they pick it up, but they know if they're capable or not.
And now Mateusz Kieliszkowski, who's on a 2-event win streak, and he has a chance to win this one as well.
He's just a fantastic all-round performer. I mean, the amount of events he is elite at, just the elite of the elite. It's just that deadlift that holds him back. And we talk about the weakness. Even if he was a mid-table, in terms of points on the deadlift, he'd be winning almost every contest that he does. Still, even now, he's only 4 points behind the leader. And if he can get 9 reps here, he's going to put himself in contention to win this title. That's got to be the number that's in his head.
That explosive overhead power will serve him well here in this event. He's, like I said, he's got a 2-event win streak. We've seen this guy maul a log in the past.
Watch him to one motion. That's something you've seen a lot in the past, where he doesn't stop at the shoulders. He'll pull the log into the lap and just drive straight from the lap, straight to lockout. He's one of the fitter athletes as well. It's a much quicker way of lifting, but it is very, very hard to do, especially as the log gets heavier and heavier.
And once again, we have moved this event into the concourse like the Iron Bull yesterday because of the moisture on the field. It was determined that this would be the best way to create the safest environment possible for these athletes to complete this event.
This is bread and butter for these strongmen, and that's why we're seeing such good numbers. It's an event they're very well trained in, experienced with.
Here goes Mateusz. This shouldn't stop long on his shoulders.
Okay, he didn't do what I would expect there, so that shows the confidence isn't quite back in the tricep yet. But still, very easy first rep. Just protecting himself a little bit on the clean there. Not as aggressive and explosive as we've seen in the past. Being very methodical, cleaning up to the shoulder, not rushing. That's 3 reps. His pace is slower than most of the leaders so far. But he might be just trying to make sure he uses that time limit effectively.
4th rep is good.
That was more explosive than the last one. That moved well.
About 45 seconds remain for Mateusz Kieliszkowski through 4 good reps. Looking to tie Alexei Novikov at 5.
Another easy press. 30 seconds left.
Needs 3 to tie for the lead.
I just think he's going a little bit too slow. He's making the reps look comfortable. A little bit off balance there, but still pressing-wise, not too bad at all. He's really kind of limited himself in terms of numbers now. He's probably got about time to get one more rep.
This looks to be his last attempt.
And again, easy
there is
press.
7 for Kielikoski. He can get back on this. If he gets in his lap, he can do it. So he's right back on it.
He's timed that well.
This to tie, and he won't be able to get it.
He's going to be disappointed in himself with that, because that there potentially has put him out of contention for the whole competition, particularly with 3 athletes on the 8 reps. Knowing that Evan Singleton has to come, and he's a great log lifter. Mitch Hooper, also a very good log lifter. He won't be pleased with that.
And the technique looked great, but I think it was the pacing.
The pacing, I think that's just a confidence thing. You know, coming back from injuries, it does affect that mental side just as much as your physical. He was very, very slow and methodical, but every single press up until that last one moved well.
Mateusz Kielikoski with 7 good reps. And we still have
Tom Stoltman.
A couple people to go here. Tom Stoltman, we have Evan Singleton and Mitchell Hooper.
Yeah, and they will all be looking, all 3 of those will be looking at this, not worrying so much about the likes of Bobby Thompson and Luke Stoltman, but they will be looking at Kielikoski and thinking, I need to get ahead of that.
Crew doing a good job of getting the lifting area situated. And then Tom Stoltman will take his turn on that 360-pound log.
So Tom Stoltman's progress on the log over the last few years has been absolutely amazing. His shoulder power and pressing power in general just seems to improve all the time. We've seen Luke Stoltman manage to do 8 reps just last week. Tom Stoltman beat Luke and he beat Mitch on the log in contest. So he's got to be feeling confident going into this one.
He's great at lifting and moving odd objects, has that overhead pressing power.
He's you know, one of his biggest strengths is when he's confident, he almost kind of believes he can do anything. And we're seeing he's just kind of building that confidence up event after event in this comp. That last, the arm over arm, you started to see that kind of twink in his eye that he believes he can win this. He knows if he can take the win on the log, he is right back in contention. The pressure will be on going into the final event later on this afternoon.
He's coming off a 2nd place finish in the roller coaster, now trying to chase down his brother Luke. Those 8 reps. That is no problem.
Easy
for Tom Stoltman, and gets right back to work.
Very little leg drive, just a little pop, using those big triceps and shoulders just to look how easy he sends it overhead. And the pace is fast. 3 reps already at 20 seconds.
4 reps are good for Tom Stoltman. Halfway there with still a minute to go.
This is good. This is very, very impressive. You just think, not just the fact that he's lifting 360 pounds, but Tom has to lift it so much further than anyone else as well. And to be going at this pace, extremely impressive.
He's only halfway through his allotted time. He's at 7 reps. Now this to tie for the lead.
This is fantastic lifting.
8 reps good for Tom Stoltman. He gets 1 more. He's going to be in first place, trying to get the crowd behind him. This for the outright lead, and he still has 30 seconds to go, and that is 9 for Tom Stoltman.
He's got to push for 1 more. Put the pressure on the next guys. He's got 15 seconds to do 1 more rep. Double figures on the 360-pound log. Make it happen. And that was easy as well.
Good, and that looked as good as the first.
You can see what he's showing now, why he is regarded as one of the absolute best in the world when he's in form. Tom Stoltman, 10 repetitions on the log lift.
10 reps for Tom Stoltman. 360 pounds, a little more than 163 kilos, and made that thing look like a tinker toy.
Unbelievable pressing. You think of how high he's lifting each of those reps, just the speed he went through them. Anyone that makes an excuse that being tall makes it hard to press, look at Tom Stoltman. 10 repetitions, currently the leader in the log rep for max repetitions.
Looking to claim second place overall all by himself and maybe put some more pressure on Mitchell Hooper for the top spot. Evan Singleton and Hooper have yet to go, but this is even impressive and looks fast in slow motion.
Well, Evan and Mitch are going to be feeling the pressure because they know, really, to stay with Tom, they need 9 reps. If they tie that 8 reps, a lot of those athletes are going to split points. Tom is going to shoot himself up into the lead. So there is a huge amount of pressure now on the remaining 2 athletes.
Well, Evan Singleton will be the next man out. The T-Rex coming off back-to-back third-place finishes after a 7th place to start the competition in the Tower of Power. 20 points, one of 3 men with 20 points, along with Tom Stoltman and Mateusz Kiełkowski.
Big difference with Evan between this year and previous years. I mean, you can see the intensity in his eyes. You really can. But in the past, he'd be screaming and shouting and burning up that energy. Right now, it is all focused on the event. Very fast and explosive, well-rounded athlete. Log lift is one of his favorite lifts. The weakness for this contest was the deadlift. That's out the way.
30 seconds.
Now it's time to put the pressure on and fight for a podium.
Tom Stoltman has thrown down the gauntlet with that 10-rep performance of Evan Singleton. Like you said, Laz, he's got to get 9 reps to...
In his head, he'll feel like, I need to beat that. Because he's going into this event tied with Tom. Tom's very, very good at loading sandbags. He's going to feel like he's got to put in a huge number on this.
Here goes Evan Singleton.
It wasn't the best first rep in the world, but can he kind of correct that, get himself into a good rhythm?
We saw that with the Tower of Power. We kind of struggled on that first rep.
That's
found
better.
the groove, and now he's done the same thing here with the log. He's through 2.
It's very common that we see that. They just kind of get a feel for that log on the first one. Suddenly, you can almost think they're struggling, and then they just get used to the implement that they're using. But he's nowhere near as quick as Tom was at this stage.
There's 4 for Evan Singleton. A little less than a minute to go. Five reps, good.
He's looking powerful. The standard has been so high on this log lifting competition that you're going to feel that pressure. But 8 reps is a huge, huge target to hit. That's got to be the first target for Evan. Then you worry about Tom.
I don't think he was given that one because he's still at 5. So that is a lot of effort. That's a costly no rep for Singleton.
Time's running out. He really needs this. No.
Not going to get it. So Singleton now stuck at 5. He's got 10 seconds left, and he's going to call it. But that's going to shake things up on top of the overall leaderboard.
Absolutely. I mean, Tom Stoltman is showing why he is one of the, 2-time winner of the World's Strongest Man, second place at Rogue Invitational 2021. He is putting the pressure on all the top athletes. Evan felt the pressure there. Kiełkowski has felt the pressure.
That first rep wasn't as smooth as the second one. Really looked to kind of find his rhythm here on rep number 2.
Yeah, I've got to be honest. I was expecting better from Evan. He's a good log lifter. But that's this happens in sport when athletes are putting in amazing performances like we saw from Tom Stoltman there with that 10 reps. You feel it, and you maybe try a little bit too hard. You feel like you're going to kind of push your pace a little bit too much, and then it throws out what you're capable of. It's going to be interesting to see how Mitch Hooper copes because he's going to be feeling that pressure as well. Tom Stoltman has done everything he needs to do.
He just couldn't lock out that last attempt. And now Mitchell Hooper will be the last man out. He's your overall leader with 24 points. Hasn't won an event, but hasn't finished lower than 4th. Extremely consistent so far here at the 2023 Rogue Invitational.
And I mean, Mitch will be thinking, I need to get second place. He doesn't need to beat Tom because he has a few points lead. But what he can't do is tie on those athletes that have 8 because he will suddenly drop that lead very, very quickly. Very, very good tactician, very strong all over. explosive, powerful. No Atlas stones in this competition, which he'll be happy about. Probably the one event that's cost him the most points in the last year. Again, like I said earlier, Mitch lost to Tom on the log last weekend in a contest in Glasgow. He tied with Luke Stoltman, so in his head he'll be thinking 8's possible. But really, to keep that pressure on Tom, he needs to split the Stoltmans and get between them with 9 reps.
There's your chance of Moose out there, Mitchell Hooper's nickname.
A lot of people think they're booing him when they're saying that. He's chalking up everything, doesn't want any slippage.
To tie Tom Stoltman, he's going to take 11 to win this whole thing. We'll see where Mitchell Hooper winds up here. First rep is good. Right back to working rep number 2.
I know Mitch has the engine. He's a very fit athlete. He's not quite as strong as Tom overhead, so he's going to have to really use the time.
4 reps down. Here's 5. And that will count for Hooper. 1 minute remains. He's going to take a break.
It's a good start. 35 seconds. 5 reps so far. He knows what he needs to do. You'll feel those muscles burning up a little bit, so he just steps back, tries to get some air in. Gets the 6th rep. Very, very important that he gets 2 more, really.
7 is good. Now he has a chance to tie for 2nd place right now with 8 good reps.
30 seconds left, and that's come away from him. He needs to make sure he keeps that lock tight into his throat.
And able to struggle through that. I believe he got credit for it. He does. Now tied with 3 other men for 8 reps. He has 15 seconds remaining.
Now we saw in an interview with Kiki, he said as long as he has the lock on his lap before the 1 minute 30 is up, he gets to go for it. So he's using that time to his advantage, waiting to the last minute. Now, has he got the power to do this?
This will be the final rep for Mitch Hooper. It will count if he gets it.
He's going to have to really hit this perfectly if he wants to get it.
And
he gets the down signal.
Huge at the buzzer for Mitch Hooper to put him in 2nd place in the event.
9 repetitions. You can see how important that was for him. You don't often see that kind of reaction from Mitch Hooper. He knew that Tom Stoltman put every bit of pressure on him. If he only got 8 there, it wouldn't have been good enough, because Tom is exceptionally good at this last event that we have coming today.
Pacing that perfectly, and as you said, he told Kiki Dixon earlier, look for me to use that to my advantage as far as getting it into his lap and having some extra time, and he planned that out absolutely perfectly.
He's a very clever athlete. He uses everything to his advantage. Technically not as good as Tom on the press, not as strong in the shoulders, and Tom, you know, he was unbelievable with that 10 reps. But Mitch knew how important that 9th was. Used the clock to his advantage.
And it is not often where we see an athlete fail a rep on a log, able to re-rack it and then hit the 2nd one.
Absolutely. We've got an exciting finish, though. Tom Stoltman has dragged himself back into this contest. Wow.
The 10 reps for Tom Stoltman is going to win this thing. It'll be his first win of the competition. He'll earn 10 points for that. He will carve 1 point off of Mitchell Hooper's lead heading into the final event. But Mitchell Hooper picks up his his second place finish of the competition. But Tom Stoltman, he is your winner, and he is with Kiki Dixon.
Tom, you have had incredible performances with the log, not only at this competition, but in past competitions as well. What has that done for your confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I was one of the best in the world at reps, and statically I needed to get it up, and I knew today that 10 reps would win, and I think 160 is very light for us, and I knew I have the conditioning and the power to get 10 reps, and that's what I did. I knew, other people would have dropped a few points, so I just concentrated on myself, got 10 reps, and I was happy with that. So.
This is obviously a heavy log, not the heaviest you've lifted, but for reps, there was that endurance element. What cues were you taking from your body to let you know, hey, I'm ready to rock and roll again?
I mean, it's just go all out for a minute and a half. That's all you're lifting for. So, the most I've ever done is 9 at 150, and that was a world record back a year or two ago. So just to do 10 at 160 is good. And,
Normally happy with the officials at any point, but took a time out there that we'll see.
Yeah, if you give Oklahoma a little bit of a sliver here, Lance Leipold, by the way, is a very pleasant man to speak to in normal conversation. He's not normally that kind of guy that goes all scanners on the sideline. Second and goal coming up at some point as the rain continues to get in Ethan Downs' eyes.
I think his eye black is...
Well, he was the one all week talking about eye crimes and eye discipline. This is starting to create a file.
This is about these guys, though, man. Seriously, in this weather, I know there's lots of other stars, but it comes down to this line of scrimmage, man. Both sides.
And they put 1:02 on the clock. They just changed the clock. Bean back in the end zone, and he overcooked it for Cardell.
Oh, and that is just another critical miss. And it is wet, and it is windy, but you cannot be more wide open than this play action. Oklahoma selling out. Look at all the eyes. 3 steps forward.
Yeah.
On a dry day, that is just a little bit of touch. On a wet day, trying to cut through these conditions with more velo, that's a critical miss.
And now you've got a decision forthcoming. If you don't get it on 3rd and goal, you also have left Oklahoma time regardless. Bean again. Over the middle into traffic, and that's knocked away. Danny Stutzman is down and hurt, but he was the guy that got the hand in.
That's just late. As early and as anticipatory as Jason Bean was a week ago, the very best as you see Stutzman friendly fire collision in the end zone. This ball has got to come out in a hurry. The minute that tight end shows you his numbers, that ball's out.
Yeah.
And it's late. And once it's late down here in a condensed area, fortunate in some ways that he doesn't get the interception, and you can see the lower leg there. Cola and Stutzman collide.
Danny Stutzman, it was such a joy to talk to this week, a young man who, as he talks about himself, he says, look, I've just always loved playing with effort that's different than everybody else, and he has become such a defensive leader for this team, sort of the Dylan Gabriel of the defense in terms of having guys follow him, and he gets the stop here. We'll check on his condition shortly as Seth Keller is on for a field goal. They're going to try and take the 3.
Yeah, these are the game situations against the number 6 team in the country that come back and bite you. Kind of like a Paul Sewald walk in the 9th inning before Corey Seager bites you. This whole management after 1st and goal at the 5.
Field goal is up and good, but that feels like a win for the Oklahoma defense. Coming up at the half, stay tuned. Rob Stone and the guys have the State Farm halftime show. And
just cannot get anything going, but if I'm Donovan Smith, I'm trying to find Samuel Brown. Number 4, Samuel Brown offensively.
Wildcats defense is hungry. Here comes the blitz. Smith picks it up. He's got a man open, but overthrows Samuel Brown.
Right idea. Just overshot the guy that he needed.
An extra beat. And Dotson made some pay. And you know what? Maybe as a freshman, you wallow in that decision. Not as a 5th-year senior. Not with 40 starts under your belt. You come back, you battle back, and it's been his legs, much like it was against Texas. They beat the Longhorns, not with his arm, but with his 100.
That was very specific. Mike Hill in the studio in Los Angeles.
Yeah, inside our dry LA studios here.
In his college career, says that's fine. If I got to run for 100 a day and do it the hard way, put my head down and get those yards as well.
I told you at the top, right now he would be the single season completion percentage leader.
Absolutely, 15 straight runs. They've done it that way. They may have to put the ball in the air, but Jason, 37 first half snaps for the Sooners, 30 on the ground.
Look, if you feel like you have an advantage, why not use it?
Absolutely. And if they're not going to put extra bodies up there, if they're not going to get into a bare front, if they're not going to put more D linemen on the field, you continue to take what they're giving you. Offensive coordinator Jeff Levy, former lineman himself, doesn't mind this kind of game at all.
He talks a lot about Dylan Gabriel's pre-snap process. This is another run, 16 straight, and Sawchik is drilled. It's a loss of 1. Robinson and Withers there together. Interesting call there.
Well, now it looks like they're more than content to get into halftime. That's a little bit of a surprise.
You know, Brock, if possessions are going to be that valuable in this game with all the running, wouldn't you want to try and maximize an extra one you got given?
And here's your first substitution where Oklahoma substituted. They're taking a knee anyway. Bit surprised with 3 timeouts and 50 seconds to go.
Travis up the seam in stride, breaking free Ja'Kai Douglas. Ankle tackle, saved a touchdown as he stumbles after Evan Slocum tripped him up to the 38-yard line of Wake.
And just like that, they run a play-action pass right over the top. Jordan Travis finds Ja'Kai Douglas.
And Jasheen Davis called for roughing the passer on that push of
Lucas, he wants some action. He hasn't had much today, but he's going the wrong way if you're Indiana. And he slips back to the 20-yard line. That almost looked like a guy that's had 1 touch today as a runner, and that's it.
Since